It was a stormy night in the bustling city of New York. The streets were empty, and the only sound was the pounding of the rain against the pavement. But that all changed when the city's residents heard the piercing screams coming from the penthouse of the wealthy Williams family. When the police arrived at the scene, they found a gruesome sight. Mr. and Mrs. Williams had been brutally murdered, their throats slashed and their bodies left in a pool of blood, and their teenage son, Jack, was missing. The penthouse was in shambles, with furniture overturned and belongings scattered everywhere. It was clear that there had been a struggle. The police immediately began a search for Jack and a manhunt for the killer. They interviewed neighbors and friends of the Williams family, but no one seemed to have any information about the murders or Jack's whereabouts. They began canvassing the area, checking for any signs of the killer or the missing boy. They also searched for any leads in the Williams' penthouse but found no evidence or footprints. Days turned into weeks, and still, there were no leads in the case. The city was in a state of fear and panic as the killer remained at large. The police department had never dealt with such a heinous crime before, and the pressure was on to find the perpetrator before he struck again. The investigation took a turn when a security camera footage showed a man wearing a hoodie breaking into the Williams' penthouse on the night of the murders. The police were able to track down the man, and it was revealed that he was a former employee of the Williams' company, who had been fired for embezzlement. When the police searched the man's apartment, they found Jack, who had been held captive in a small room. He had been severely beaten and was barely alive. He was rushed to the hospital and thankfully recovered from his injuries. He was able to tell the police that the man had kidnapped him after killing his parents and that he was kept in a small room with no windows, with a blanket and a bottle of water. He was almost sure he was going to die in that room. Further investigation revealed that the former employee had been fired from the Williams' company and had been harboring a grudge against the family. He had planned to kidnap and kill the entire family as a way of seeking revenge. He had broken into the Williams' penthouse on the night of the murders and brutally killed Mr. and Mrs. Williams when they confronted him. He had also taken all valuable items from the penthouse and had sold them in the black market to finance his escape. The former employee was arrested and charged with murder, kidnapping, and assault.
Get out of here! Come on, out!
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
He was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. The city of New York finally had closure and could begin to heal from the tragedy that had occurred. But the memory of the Williams family and the horror that they had experienced would never be forgotten. The residents of New York would always remember the night that true crime came to their city and how it had forever changed their peaceful community. Jack was able to move on with his life, with the help of therapy and support from his friends and family. He went to college and started a new chapter of his life, but the trauma of the event would stay with him forever. He also inherited his parents' company and was able to bring it back to the top, making it one of the most successful companies in the city, as a way to honor his parents' legacy.